Hey everybody, how you doing? WHAAAGWAN Friends. For all my people on Jamaicans.com. I know you miss me because I miss you. It's your girl, Suzette Speaks, your hostess with the mostest, who always encourages you to chase the real you. You know I love bringing dynamic women from all over South Florida to you who have inspiring stories. And today, I have this lovely woman who's going to introduce herself. Her name is Miss Sabrena Jay, and we're going to be talking about how women can rediscover their purpose. I don't know about you guys, when we go through the different changes in life, where sometimes we're mom, no longer mom, sometimes we're the breadwinner, no longer the breadwinner, sometimes we change in terms of friendships and parental dynamics and all kind of things kind of take our focus. But do you focus enough on you? And are you in tune with really what you're here to do on earth and who you're here to serve? So we're going to get deep. I hope you will like. I hope you will comment, because we want to hear from you. And we want to make sure we are answering to you as we go, answering back to you as we go through this interview. So WHAAAGWAN Sabrena, she's not Jamaican, y'all, but we got to bring the Jamaican back, right? Get a little love going. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Suzette?
I'm so excited. I'm thankful that you came on. We are in, by the way, downtown Delray Beach, Florida. Palm Beach County, what's up? Delray Beach is so beautiful. They're redoing downtown, and so you got to come check them out. But yes, my love, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm so happy you're here. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your company and what you do.
Yeah, so my company name is Sabrena Jay Inspirations, and I started the company about 4 years ago with my son, who was at the time only 14 years old.
No way.
And a lot of people are like, what are you doing, right? Well, that came about because one day I was in my office at work. My daytime job is a marketing strategist, and I'm great at that. But I still felt unfulfilled on the inside. I still felt empty at the end of my day.
Yes.
And one day I was in my office at work just thinking about something I saw on TV, something random, where the person moved on and started their new life in a new country. And I just started crying uncontrollably. And I'm like, why do I feel so empty? Why is my life just lacking meaning?
Wow. And
it was in that moment that God really started to speak to me and give me a strategy for the business that He wanted me to start, to be an inspirational speaker, to really inspire souls for Christ.
Wow.
And then as I kind of walked this thing out, it has unfolded into something quite amazing.
That's an inspirational story. In and of itself. I want to shout out to people who are already watching us. Shout out to Earl Brown, Miss Maxine, Rigo Reyes. How are you guys doing? Thank you. She said we look beautiful. Thank you so much, boo. But I'm so thankful that you're being transparent. A lot of times when people talk about purpose and how they soon hopefully discover it, or along the pathways of discovering it, sometimes it hits you over the head. So I can't imagine you watching this program about someone going off to go kind of pursue their dream, and then how much it touched you so that you just started bawling. What do you think was going on inside you when you were watching that?
Well, my backstory is one that's very interesting because I have always been a dreamer in my heart, always tried to, move on and go to bigger and better things. I went to the Navy, came back a month later.
Wow. You're like, not quite.
Not quite. Who knew swimming was important in the Navy, right? I moved to Texas, came back a month later.
Wow.
I moved to Virginia, packed up my kids and moved to Virginia and came back.
Really?
A month later.
So you're not afraid to experiment and go and see what it's like, but if it doesn't work out, no big deal. And I think that's very important because in today's society, people are afraid to try because they're afraid to come back. And they'll be like, oh girl, you're back? What happened? But it's not a bad thing. Before the social media onslaught, before the internet, people tried new things. They went to new countries and they went all over, and no one knew but them and their families.
Exactly.
Now everybody's business is everywhere, so people are afraid to go out there. So good for you.
But the thing was with that, Suzette, though, it was because I was just longing for something, so I was chasing that feeling, right? And in that moment when I finally came back the third time from the Navy, Virginia, and I was just done. I'm like, okay, God, I'm just gonna settle in this life, get a job, and just live.
Wow.
But it didn't fulfill me because that wasn't my calling.
Wow.
And I think I had to get to that point where I was done trying to do it my way, where I had to really just hit rock bottom and cry out to God for Him to say, okay, now let me tell you what I have in store for you, which was far beyond anything I was even trying to pursue for myself.
I love it. It's a painful process. And I saw, I think I'm going to post a quote in the comments that says, growth isn't easy. A lot of time growth isn't comfortable. And oftentimes growth is when you're completely stripped of everything that you could rely on, everybody, all material wealth, anything that you thought would always be there for you, or people you thought would always be there for you. Hello, somebody. Please drop a comment.
People are people.
Yeah, people are imperfect. People are going through their own struggles. So sometimes the very things that we are looking for to give us answers are all kind of cleared until it's just you and God. And you have to look to Him and seek His face, really, to get the answers that you're looking for. So that happened to you.
And that's where real purpose is discovered. When you get to that point where you say, God, I have no clue what I'm doing.
Right.
I just have this desire in my heart. Please show me the way.
Exactly. Completely stripped.
Yes.
And I think some people, including myself, sometimes we're afraid to go there. We're afraid to be there. Sometimes He has to push you there because you are not going to voluntarily say, okay, God, I need you. No, you have to literally be put in a place where there's no other alternative for Him to show up, and then you're like, whoa, okay, let me redirect and kind of commune with Him in a different type of way. So you get to this place, so you realize you were chasing, you weren't just trying new things, you were chasing that oh my gosh, excitement. A lot of times there's this dopamine and adrenaline and other things that are, we're seeking, whether it's through applause, whether it's through relationships, and sometimes it's trying to go new places. So you recognize that now, or you recognized it then?
Oh, I was chasing freedom, and I was chasing an image of myself that I was trying to obtain.
Wow.
And
explain that.
Okay, so I had my kids at an early age. I was 20, 21 years old. And so I did not want to be that young single mother on welfare with a lot of kids. I didn't want to be that stereotype. And I had someone kind of speak that into my spirit when I was a teenager, that I was going to end up that way. And so I was like, I refused to end up this way. And so I was chasing an image I had of myself and trying not to be that stereotype. And I was, by any means necessary, I was going to get free.
Wow.
From that self-bondage.
And that's so transparent of you to be able to articulate that what you were told early on in our journey of life, whether it's in your childhood, during your teenage years, or your young adult years, are often seared into our mind. And whether we're conscious about it or not, it is causing us to really believe things that may or may not be true. And even though they may not be true, you are living according to, not just you, Sabrena, but other people all over the world are living as if these things are facts, as if this is going to define you for the rest of your life. And sometimes you gotta unlearn stuff.
Exactly.
Some of the stuff your mom and dad said is not true. Sometimes our relatives, our cousins, our siblings, our aunts, things that they grew up believing are not true. But because we love them, sometimes we think that because we love these people, they have all truth with regards to our lives. It's not true. And you got to let go of those paradigms. So when did you become aware that what you were doing was trying to be the opposite of what you were told that you were going to be? When did you realize that?
I call those negative self-truths, right?
Ooh, okay.
And it took me hitting rock bottom a time or two or three. And it really was that day in my office where I had just started the job. I think I was in my maybe second week at the job, and I was in the office crying. And I'm like telling myself to stop, I'm going to get fired. You're going to think I'm crazy. But I just couldn't stop crying. But it was in that moment in my office where people had always told me, I should be a speaker. And I'm like, no, I'm a writer. I'm not good with speaking, right? But it was in that moment where God was like, let me tell you what I have in store for you. And it really did involve speaking. It's not how you say it, it's the depth of your words, right? It's the power that comes through your testimony that people need to hear. So it was in that moment where I was like, okay, I'm tired of doing it my way. Let me just do it your way.
Okay, God, you got me. No wonder, again, when you were overtaken by those, what I really think is probably latent feelings, all of it, sometimes, let me tell you, when that well starts to bubble up and you can't control it, you better get in God's face and you better really listen. Stop talking. Listen. Ask for direction and listen. Ask what you want me to do and listen. We want to tell God what we want to do. We want to tell God when to show up and how to show up. That's not how he works. You have to literally be, the word is servant. Servant.
Yes.
We're going to get into that, but we're not going to get into that right now. Drop a comment, please, if you can relate. So you get to this point, you're at this new job, you are hearing something totally different than what the reality is around you.
Yes.
You're looking at this desk, you're looking at your new coworkers, they're like, what? When you go get to work, what's going on with you here? So do you walk out immediately, or what do you do?
No, I stayed at the job, but I did go home. And see, what God did, he gave it to me in increments. That's what he does. He gives you your purpose in increments. And it really was start a blog to inspire Christians to get over living a life of defeat.
Wow.
And I always had a lot in me. You know, although I was trying to, you know, find my way, I knew, I'm like, God, I have so much in me, you know. And I was just chasing something. So I started a blog. The blog was a success when I first launched it. I launched it with a story called Gay Christians.
Wow.
Is it the unpardonable sin? And it got so much response.
I bet. That's so controversial.
Yes.
Homosexuality in the church is so controversial. So you wrote about that.
I wrote about that.
Wow.
And not from a judgmental standpoint. You know, I kind of weighed the options on both sides. And then I also wrote about Christians who commit suicide. So things that people don't talk about in the church. But for me, it was near and dear to my heart because I had attempted suicide earlier on in my life.
Wow.
And so I'm like, you know, and I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus, you know. But I got to a place where I felt so lost and I longed to hear his voice, or I wasn't listening to his voice. And there goes the enemy with his voice saying, that person
you can't be recovered. You cannot come back from this.
Like you really did end up a single mother on welfare. Like you ruined your life at 21. You know, to the point where I was just like, I didn't want to be this person. I don't want to.
But you knew who you really were. And the outside, you're like, this is not me. But in your head, you're like, but I know I'm greater than the circumstances that are presented right now.
Exactly.
That is a very important point, because many of you out there, you're looking at your life and you're saying, whoa, the pieces are not aligning. It doesn't match up with how I feel. I know I'm supposed to be, I don't know about you, but I dream. And when I get done dreaming, I'm like, oh, I woke up, and my life is not reflective of what I feel in my heart, what is coming to me from what I call spirit. We don't give as much credibility to that as we're growing into this secular society. But I think above all, you have to know yourself as a spirit being first. And once you are tapped into that which is eternal, then outside starts to kind of align with that. But a lot of times we're injured in the spirit. We are laden with baggage in the spirit. We're caught up with what other people believe about us, and from a spiritual depth level, so that the outside is manifesting all of the confusion, all of the burdens that are steeped inside. So we got to do the work, folks. We got to do the work in kind of cleaning out that baggage, retelling the story, reframing things, not allowing what people have spoken over our lives to kind of like become what is truth deep down. We got to be very careful about what we are listening to, either consciously or subconsciously, and what we believe in those realms, particularly the spiritual realm. So how did you catch your spirit woman up with what the circumstances were presented, what they were outside of yourself? How were you able to kind of like make some congruency out of what you knew was kind of a disparate circumstance? This is not me. This is a life that is here, but this is not who I truly am. How did you kind of move forward in that?
So it really takes self-reflection, right? I had to really stop. And even after God spoke to me about the business and I started pursuing it the wrong way, you know, hustle mode, we think hustle mode, right? And then I got off track again. And so finally it wasn't until last year where God really started to speak to me about me, where I was getting myself off track. You know, your eyes are fixed on the wrong thing. You're still trying to prove things to people.
Wow.
But I just want you to get in alignment with me.
Oh my God.
So it was really self-reflection that I had to do. And I had to say, where am I getting myself off track? You know, what is my character flaw here that's getting myself off track? And it really was that negative self-image, a defeated mindset I had, where I didn't, although I was pursuing something, I didn't believe in my heart that I could take hold of it.
Wow.
So I was making all these wrong decisions, putting myself in debt, just not really seeking the Holy Spirit for guidance, you know. So you can't do it in your own might.
Wow.
It really does take, you know, spending time alone with God, listening to his strategy, because he's so strategic. And just being honest with yourself about yourself and dealing with your skeletons.
I see a comment here, girl. Maxine, thank you. She's talking about go, girl. I love this chat. We have to be obedient to his word. Congratulations on finding your authentic self, your purpose. Hands up, hands up. Thank you, boo. We're feeling you because we're all a work in progress. I love to say behind all these pretty smiles and those pretty made up faces, it's a lot of tears, it's a lot of anguish, it's a lot of uncertainty and confusion because people are good at hiding and curating a life that they want to present to the world.
Exactly.
But instead, we got to get real with ourselves. You can't be real with nobody else if you're not real with yourself. So you being able to finally kind of hear God's voice and say to yourself, you are operating in a wrong belief. What'd you call it?
Negative truth.
Negative truth. Oh,
negative self-truth.
Negative self-truth, where you're thinking something that is not true about you. But even if you're not recognizing it to be true, you're still acting as if it's true.
Exactly. It's why I don't call it a false truth, because when you believe something about yourself, that becomes your truth.
Absolutely.
It's a negative truth.
Wow.
It becomes true to you, so it's not false until you speak.
Yeah,
the actual truth.
So what does it look like to you? So we're getting into the spirit conversation. I'm glad you guys are watching. So when you think about what has taken place in your life over the last year, give me some of what the God steps were that you started to kind of focus where you're looking in terms of your inspiration, in terms of comparison, in terms of real goals, God ordained goals. Where did you start to pick up on the good truths and the real positive truths so that the negative ones can kind of get smaller and smaller and eventually be manageable where you weren't operating according to what they were saying?
So in 2017, my life hit a hard stop, right? I think God really did push the pause button on my life for me to get back into alignment, because once again, I had the vision now, but I was chasing it in all the wrong way. Like, I quit that job that I was crying at after 2 years without having a real provision for what I was going to do next. You know, I had my faith,
right?
Some money in the bank, and I had my vision, right?
Yeah.
And it worked out for a while, but then I really hit a hard rock bottom now, like, because I was just hopping from place to place, thing to thing, and to the point where I went like 8 months without being able to find a job, and nothing was falling in line with the business. And then, of course, what do you do when you think you have a vision and it's not working out? You get mad with God. So
desperation kicks in.
I got so mad with God, and it was in that time I was talking to a friend of mine saying, you know, well, I don't care, it's just temporary because I'm gonna do da-da-da-da-da. You know, I renewed my strength, but it was that stubbornness, right? But when I woke up that morning, as soon as I opened my eyes, what came through my mind was, because I was saying, God, you're supposed to order my steps. You're not ordering my steps. And he said, oh, make my crooked path straight, was my prayer before I went to bed. And when I woke up, God said, it's not the path that's crooked, it's your feet. You keep making decisions that get yourself off track. I set before you a straight path, but you're going every way but the way I'm leading you. And then he began to show me every wrong turn I made that led me up to that hard place. But God needed to really break that stubbornness in me. So because I got it, it's like, Eureka, I get it, God. No, I stayed in that hard place for a couple of more months. So I really hit rock bottom in my finances and everything. But now, on the other side of it, you know, I have that to look back at. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this decision the right way. You know, how do I move forward with wisdom as my guide and not my emotions as my guide? You know, so it really was, once I hit that rock bottom, and even now, I'm always like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Am I staying in alignment with your word? So I'm a lot more in tune with my steps now than versus thinking I can jump off a cliff.
And he gonna save you.
And he gonna save you.
Yeah, because I want to do this, Lord. Now, ready parachute, now.
I don't need a parachute, I'm gonna jump. Jesus got me. No. God was like, no.
So I I love the fact that there's been a kind of a series of growth steps. So guys, we're both works in progress. This does not happen overnight.
No.
Finding purpose, rediscovering purpose, really even co-creating with God a new purpose is not something that happens overnight. He already knows what you are and what you're designed for, but it really, I hear the through line of all of this is you have to follow Him.
Yes.
You cannot set your own. We all have goals, we all have dreams, and I think we have desires that are placed in our hearts by Him. But I think sometimes we get off track with the how and the when, right? So we need to be, I guess, patience. Yeah.
Why are you doing what you're doing?
Exactly. I think patience in the process is actually very important. Being able to show yourself grace. If you mess up and you see you made that left turn and woo, child, I'm back where I started. I'm chasing people and I'm chasing approval and I'm chasing, you know, so-called fame and celebrity and recognition and affirmation. And you're chasing because we are fed all the time via likes, via, you know, people showing up. Where, you know, it's comments, it's this, and we're chasing these things. But are you chasing who God designed you to be? And you really have to sit back and you really have to ask yourself in a really kind of in-depth way, quiet way, sit away from husbands, from parents, from children, and just you and God listening for better clarity on what it is I'm designed to do and where I should go. So when you try to break down, I don't even know if there's any steps that we can give people. What would you say are the steps? Because I'm like, God does things in His own time, so that's what I'm thinking. So how would you describe what the steps are?
So I do have a workshop that I'm starting in a book of writing called How to Discover Your Purpose and Pursue It. It's an 8-week course, so I call it in 8 steps. And it really is, you know, a lot of it is God's timing. But there are some things that we can do to get ourselves in better alignment. And that first step really is getting honest with yourself about yourself. It wasn't until I had to really pinpoint why was I getting myself off track that I had to realize, it was that word that was spoken in my life when I was 14, that I was trying not to be that person, you know. So I had to do away with that. Okay, you're not that person. Okay, you are a powerful, anointed woman of God. What is your truth now? Who are you now? You have to reevaluate who you are. And I say that because as women, especially, we transform so much to play the roles that we have to live every day. A mother, a wife, you know, superwoman, right?
Caretaker of everybody but you.
Exactly. And to the point where we put on all of these roles and all of these masks that we lose sight of our true selves. So I know the first true step in rediscovering your purpose is to get back to the core of who you are.
Absolutely.
And being honest with yourself. And then the second one is accepting your flaws. Now, I hate that term, flawless. Everyone wants to be flawless. And what is that?
Girl, your makeup is flawless.
We were created with flaws on purpose.
Absolutely.
You know, it's our flaws that make us unique. And God wants to pull the beauty out of those flaws, you know, to be used for His glory. And I always say there are character flaws that are not of Him. And then there are natural flaws that He gave us. I used to think forever that my voice was a flaw. You know, I'm like, I'm a writer, not a speaker, right? But it's that thing that He wanted to use for His glory, because I know I'm doing it in His might and not my own.
Exactly.
But a character flaw, you know, anger, you know, going about things the wrong way, being deceitful.
Must be worked on.
You know, God can't use that for His glory. Actually, it's going to push you further away from that thing He's calling you to do. So you have to get honest with yourself so you can recognize, what are my character flaws? You know, I'm bad with finances. It's not God's fault. I don't have to go to the altar every Sunday and pray for rent money. If I'm doing that, something's wrong. You know, so it's character flaws that we need to deal with versus our God-given flaws that we need to embrace and allow Him to really, you know, develop us into that thing He's calling us to be. So there are steps to it. And then, of course, a lot of reflection and spending time with God and fasting and praying. And discovering what is unique about you. What are you good at? What are your talents? What are your strengths? What are you afraid of? Oftentimes, your purpose is on the other side of your fears, so you have to challenge those fears. I used to be afraid of speaking. Here I go, an inspirational speaker.
Yeah.
I had to challenge that fear to get to what God was calling me.
Did you hear what she just said? Most of the things that we're afraid of is where our purpose lies.
Are on the other side. Yes, you have to go through it.
Welcome. Your purpose lies in that fear. Excuse me, I don't even know if I brought any water. But I'm really happy that you're letting us know that there are steps we can take. Colleen Hembry said, I am here. Wonderful. Lisa Gay Allen. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yes.
Lisa Gay chimed in. Absolutely. Good stuff, says Tiffany. Shout out. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. Are you coming from the East Coast here, Florida, all the way up to New York, Canada? Or where? Please drop a comment. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I always love when you guys let us know that you're watching. So what are some of the final takeaways you want to leave with the women out there? And again, men, I know you can use these steps as well.
Yes.
When you talk about really thinking about what you are good at. I think about what I was good at as a child. What did you enjoy if somebody never stopped you and you could just do it all day? Those are things that are kind of clues in terms of what you were saying, personality, God-given personality. I find that in other cultures, a lot of times parents take it as their mission to discover things in their child's personality and encourage them. That's not always true in families, depending on economics, different ethnicities. They often want to develop a personality for a child and try to impress upon that human being what they want them to be. But oftentimes, and it just might be a different perspective, when you're a parent, sometimes you should just hang back and acknowledge what is within the child, but that is God-given. And what can you do to encourage them? And I think even into our adulthood, we got to do that about ourselves. No encouragers exist like they used to. You don't get those pats on the back into adulthood. But you got to encourage yourself.
Yes.
And look at yourself as, I'm going to analyze what is good about me. Not only good, but what my personality lends to, or oftentimes is complimented for. Not for affirmation, but in terms of how does it enhance my life or the life of others. That's where the sweet spot is for many of us. Now, will that be a job and career? Maybe not. Will it just be where you serve within an organization or how you serve your community or family? It can be used in various ways. So purpose, I think sometimes we have to give it some leeway. It doesn't have to be this big thing. It can be. Your life mission might be big. It might be, and I don't want to call it small, but I just would call it, it's in a different setting. Everybody has been so overly stimulated by social media and wanting to live a certain glamorous lifestyle. That's not what God calls everybody for. Sometimes right in your elementary school where your kids go, you're called there to help them learn to read because that's something that you always enjoy. Maybe, and I met a young lady who, she's been involved in the entertainment industry. She saw that God tells her, you're not made for acting, you're made to encourage young people to get in with the knowledge of the industry. Now, would you call that a calling? Would you call that purpose? In a way, yes. She's using her gifts, her natural inclinations, her natural love for entertainment in a different way. So guys, allow yourself to think about purpose kind of in a multifaceted way. It does not need to be an Oprah-esque purpose. It can literally be right in your house, in your family. That can be your main ministry. Thank you, God. It could be in your small group. It could be in your friend group. So we got to allow ourselves to define what success and what purpose is in multiple ways. Don't get trapped. I think, can purpose change, Sabrena?
Your purpose can evolve. So I want to give you like some little tidbits to help you kind of pinpoint, if that thing you are pursuing is your purpose. Your purpose will always serve someone greater than you, other than you, because it's not about you. It's about the lives that your life was created to touch. So when you said about serving in your school, impacting the lives of kids because they grow up to be adults and they carry that stuff with them.
Absolutely.
Your purpose is something that you would do even if you had to do it for free, right? And it's going to combine your strengths and your weaknesses. So I have 2 companies, and then I also have a full-time day job. And sometimes people think, oh, you're all over the place. You don't know your purpose. I do know my purpose. At the core of who I am, I love helping people.
Yeah.
I love pointing people in the right direction.
Right.
So my day job, I am a marketing strategist,
right,
a consultant. I love, if you tell me something's wrong with your business, if you sit there and talk to me long enough, by the end of the conversation, I have a strategy. I can pinpoint it, and I have a strategy. And that aligns with my spiritual gift of discernment, you know. And in my business, Sabrena Jay Inspirations, as an inspirational speaker, it really is helping Christians. I say Christians in particular because I talk about God. You can't do it without God, without, you know, guidance from the Holy Spirit. But it's helping Christians come into alignment with who, you know, God is calling them to be, and pointing them in the right direction, overcoming that defeated mindset. So your purpose kind of, it incorporates that thing that you do naturally, that comes naturally to you. You know, I just love helping people. It comes naturally to me. And so if you're doing something that is just, you're forcing yourself, you don't even like it, you're doing it for the money, that's not your purpose. That's your preference for your life. And what's going to happen is you're going to obtain that thing that your heart desires. And once you get it, you're still going to feel empty and unfulfilled. Like me in my office crying. I got the position I sought. I got a master's degree in marketing, but I still was at that desk crying at that spreadsheet thinking, what happened to my dream?
Right, right. I think all of us, especially if you're here in the U.S., and I know around the world, you guys, we all experience this kind of, speaking of marketing, we're being marketed to all the time about what you need and who you are. And you have to kind of realize what is being poured in your spirit on a daily basis about what type of life you need to have, what material items you need to own, and what is going to make you happy. And I think once all of those things are really analyzed and all the kind of the smoke and mirrors are peeled away, there's no job on this earth that's going to make you happy if you're not walking in your natural gifting and your purpose. And again, your job may be different from your calling. That's a whole other thing. Your passion might be different from purpose. That's a whole other thing. But as she's saying, her love of people is applied in many different ways.
Exactly.
So no matter if it's at the job, or if it's in her own company, or if it's on their friendship levels, she is doing what her natural gifting allows. For me, I've been called an exhorter. I thank God. I never ever gave myself any type of label, but I encourage women where they are. I would do that with my eyes closed. I love the fact that there are women who are probably at a standstill, who don't yet know that they need a nudge, but they know they need it, and they can get that from something that you provide. That is something that lights my fire. And I don't know if I need to do it in my company. You guys know I do workshops. We will be at a workshop. Drop a little comment if you're in Palm Beach or if you're in South Florida. We're doing a women's workshop next weekend, August 31st. In Palm Beach. You can find it on Eventbrite. Speak Women's Empowerment Workshop. We're going to be talking about this very topic. Rediscovering your purpose after motherhood, career changes, and when life happens, hits you is the name of that workshop. So ladies, come out and see us next weekend. But the point I was trying to make is, no matter who you are, you cannot run from purpose, and you cannot fill and dump other things into your life trying to create purpose. What I've seen in terms of marketing to you, as I was saying before, is that people are constantly chasing this dream. We call it the American dream here in the United States. I know all the people have different versions of this. This white picket fence, this how much square footage house, this sometimes you only got 2 cars, but you got 3 garages. You got all this stuff. All this stuff. And I was watching actually on Netflix, big up Netflix. I was watching a documentary last night called The Minimalist. The Minimalist. Look it up on Netflix, because it was about men and women who had literally gone through this same process. The chase, the right job, the corporate ladder climb, the right salary. In the movie, it said above $70,000, I'm talking US, $70,000 US, there was very little additional happiness added to your life once you made above 70 grand. Now, I know everybody's chasing that 6-figure because that's what's being promoted, that 6-figure upper middle class lifestyle. But when we're chasing these, we're losing ourselves, and we're actually diminishing our happiness. Right? So we're looking at these people on TV and the perfect life and the insurance commercial and the drug commercial and all these people retiring on boats. What? that might not be for you. And you still got to be okay and satisfied and actually happy.
Look, they retire from the boat and then they jump off the boat.
Oh, hello. They looking for purpose, but they got the boat though.
Exactly.
And TD Jakes tell you all the time, all the millionaires that commit suicide, you wouldn't know that the million is not the answer. But we're being fed this. If I just get that another big size TV, the TV can't fit in your house. The TV is bigger than your whatnot. How about that? But you're trying to fit the next biggest TV, the bigger iPhone. There's nothing wrong with your last phone. But all of a sudden you're discontent with this phone because the next one came out. But the marketer got you. The marketer is telling you, you need this. But do we really? I think that movie touched me so well. A documentary touched me so deeply, I should say. Because I was looking at it and I'm like, Lord, what do I really need? What am I chasing and why? Do I think it's going to bring me more happiness? Is it really going to bring me more happiness? Is this a perception of what is making me happy? Or is it truly making me happy? These people went on a road trip for a year, packed, I think they said like 33 items. And that was all they all hoot. And it was so interesting when they went on interviews with people was looking at them like, good luck with that, good luck with that. And then there were like slowly, as they were talking around the country, Good Morning America picked them up, all these different news outlets, there were people like, I want to see if I can live with 33 pieces of clothes and wear it. And this woman said she did it, several did. And they were like, people in my office never knew I only owned 33 pieces of clothes and rotated it for 6 months. They put a scarf on, they took the scarf off. They put a jacket on, they took the jacket. I was like, 33, Lord, could I do that? It was just very interesting. What do we really need? Right? What are we really defining as success? So back to purpose, I think it's very important that we look internally first. At the end of the day, no amount of TV commercials, radio commercials, internet, social media commercials that have taken over our lives can tell you what you're here to do. I'm just going to say it again. You cannot look externally. That is almost the false truth that we tell ourselves. The external search, and I've been there, the look on the outside for justification, for affirmation, for purpose. It does not work that way.
Exactly.
It has to come from inside. So any closing thoughts for our ladies? I thank you guys. Make sure you share this feed, guys. Make sure you like, you comment, you share it. Before we go, tell everybody where they can find you in your social media.
Yes, so Sabrena Jay. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Sabrena Jay.
J-A-Y, yes.
S-A-B-R-E-N-A.
There we go.
J-A-Y.
Yes, J-A-Y, exactly.
And then my website is sjinspire.net. I do have an upcoming workshop in the fall on how to discover your purpose and pursue it. I have a book that's coming out about purpose.
Busy lady, guys.
Yes. Listen, this year I was like, okay, God, I feel a release in my spirit, and I'm going full steam ahead with what He placed in my heart to do. And so I just want to add to what you were saying. We can sum it up with that. That although do not chase money, because money is temporal. But when you chase your purpose, people will pay you for solving their problems.
Amen.
So your purpose will bring money automatically. That's why God says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all of these things will be added unto you.
Absolutely.
You're chasing the wrong things. Those things are temporal. You know, God's like, I got that.
Yeah.
You know, work on yourself first of all, and then work on the people that I, called you to touch. And the money is going to follow because people pay for stuff they kind of value in.
Absolutely. Learn to be happy with or without.
Exactly.
And serving others is where we find our purpose. Isn't that interesting, guys? I hope this has been as uplifting to you as it has been for us. We always like to challenge the status quo and what we're defining as success and as a purpose for women all across the world. Give yourself some grace, ladies.
Yes.
We still figuring this out too.
Take the mask off.
Exactly. Be real with yourself. Be real with others. And slowly, as you look internally first and look to your heavenly source first, you will slowly kind of reconnect with what you always was here for. And we love when we see that. So please be sure you can check out on Eventbrite, Speak Women's Empowerment Workshops. We have Palm Beach coming up August 31st. We also have in September talk about the confidence code, the art and science of self-assurance, what every woman needs to know. So look for that one. And we're coming to Orlando. I can't wait. Orlando, October 5th. We're going to be talking about I Am Enough. the key to obtaining and maintaining your self-confidence. All right, so we're here for you. Speak movement in full effect. I'm thankful that you guys watch. Again, please like and share and comment on this video. Love Uno so much. It's your girl, Suzette Speaks, always encouraging you to chase the real you. We'll see you next Saturday. Take care, guys.
Bye.